Hello and welcome to Traditional Painting the Digital Way. This is where I use digital painting apps to teach traditional painting techniques. In this video we're going to be starting a brand new series, and we're going to be painting some apples in a straw hat lying in the grass with a bunch of flowers around them. And in part one we're going to go ahead and mostly do the beginning sketch and the background. If you want to follow along traditionally with acrylic or oil paint, here's a list of the brushes that I use: a 2-inch flat wash, a number 10 bristle brush, a number 8 filbert brush, a number 10 flat brush, a number 6 flat brush, a long script brush, and a short script brush. Sometimes I also add a number 3 round to this group of brushes. Here's the canvas that I use. I usually use canvas board or gallery wrapped canvas. And here's a list of all the colors that I use. I mostly use Grumbacher Academy acrylic paint, but you can also use Daler Rowney or any brand that you prefer, but the names might change just a little bit from brand to brand. Now the app that I'm going to be using is Corel Painter 2019, and I wanted to show off a few of the new features that are in this program. And one of the features is that you can actually select your canvas size from a template now. And I really like that because you can pick what will look like a sort of a normal canvas size. And you can also pick your textures that you want, and it comes preloaded with quite a few canvas textures, and you can also add in your own if you like. And I also like this new layout that they have, and it's called the Simple Layout, and it's very friendly for tablets. And I use a Surface Pro 3, so I really like this because it puts all your main controls on the sidebar and up on the top there. And it also has a floating color picker, which I really like, so you don't have to have that square on the side taking up a lot of room. And I also like the photo reference. And I also like to pull off the layers window there. So I have the photo reference window and the layers window there and my color picker. And then that just saves a whole lot of room there, and it gives it a better look for you to go ahead and paint your picture there. There's more room there. I really like this new design, and I like all the new controls that are on the side, and it has controls for your brush categories and then your individual brushes, and they're separated out so it doesn't have a great big menu that covers about half of your screen all the time. So I really like that. And it has controls for your brush sizes, and it has a pan and a zoom. And it has undo and redo at the top, and I just really, really like this new layout. And so I wanted to go ahead and make a quick sketch, and I'm using one of the simple pencils, the number 2 pencil, in their pencils category. And I just want to go ahead and make kind of a simple sketch of the apples and just kind of get an idea of how big I want it on this canvas. And just make it real loose and sketchy. It doesn't have to be really big detailed or anything. And if you're following along with traditional materials, then you can use vine charcoal or a really light pencil. You just kind of want to get an idea of the number of apples that you want in there, and sort of the placement and sort of the size of the hat. And so that's kind of what I'm doing here. And you can use your reference photo window to kind of get an idea of what you need to do, what it looks like, and kind of the texture. And here I'm just trying to you can enlarge things in your photo reference window, and you can also zoom out. And so here you have to hit the control button and then hit the magnifying glass, and that will zoom out on your reference window. And I think there's also maybe another control that you can do, or you can set up hot button keys and all that. if you're using different kinds of tablets, but since I'm using the Surface Pro 3, I'm just kind of using the on-screen keyboard. And then here I'm doing some more sketching, putting in a little more grass, and adding the apples. There's going to be a few apples that have fallen out of the hat and that are lying in the grass next to it. So you want to put those in as well. And then here I'm going to start on the background, and I like to use the acrylic brush category because it just gives it a painterly look. I like the look of the acrylic brushes. They give you kind of a dry brush look, and that's what I'm trying to get here. And one of the things that I like about this new program is that you can enlarge your brush size just by tapping on the brush icon to your left and then dragging your pen up or down on the surface of the tablet. And you don't have to even hit keyboard commands or look at the sliders. You just have to hit that little icon, and then it will increase or decrease your brush size, and you can see it on the screen. And here I'm just kind of playing around, trying to get some blending with these acrylic brushes, and I like to use the real long brush and the real dry flat. And I think I'm using the real dry flat right here. And you just kind of play around with the controls, and there's a ton of controls there. But what I like is that if you hover your cursor over the top of them, it'll tell you what these controls do. And they added that probably 3 or 4 versions ago in Corel Painter, maybe 2013. I can't remember exactly which one, but I really like that because now you know what all the controls do, and it's not so much a mystery because they explain it to you. So here I was trying to sort of spread the bristles out and make it have more of a feathery look because I'm trying to get a grass texture color. And if you're following along traditionally, you would use probably your number 6 flat or a number 8 bristle brush, just something that gives you kind of a feathery look. And you would probably use, with your acrylic paint, Hooker's Green, and throw in some white acrylic gesso, and maybe add some phthalo yellow green as well. And then you can just add pockets of dark and light because, again, we want to show the texture of the grass. And then here I was adjusting the size of my brush again, and you can see that it pops up a little radius number there, and you can tell how big you're making it or how small you're making it, and also what the brush looks like. And so you can tell that it's kind of it's angled at a flat brush style there, and so it'll just show you exactly kind of what it looks like there. And so I really like that. That's a really neat new feature. And so here I'm just throwing in different colors into the grass. Throw in a little bit of cadmium orange if you're following along with your acrylics or oils. And throw in some dioxazine purple. We just want some variations to the grass, and we kind of want it to be darker in the back just to give it sort of the shadowy look behind it. And also we want our corners to be darkened so that the viewer's eye will go to the hat and the apples in the middle. And then here I'm just kind of working on the way the brushes blend and trying to get sort of the way the bristles go on the brush. And I was playing around with some of the oily blenders to see what they would do, and fooling around with the bristle width. You can make it look closer together or more spread out, and so that's what I was trying to do, was kind of use the coarse oily blender and then just the oily blender number 2, and I liked it a little bit better because it was sort of making a better blend here. And you just kind of want to blend all the colors together, but you don't want to take away the individual color. You want the pockets of the orange. You want the pockets of the dioxazine purple. And again, if you're following along traditionally, you would just kind of make rough brush strokes, but you would sort of smooth them together as well. And you might use sort of a dry brush effect with acrylic. Now with oil, they'll just blend together because they won't dry very fast. But with acrylic, you use dry brush blending techniques, and that just means you kind of smudge the edges and keep them soft, and that makes them blend together better. And so that's what I'm doing here. I'm just kind of working more on trying to get it blended in and trying different blenders and just trying to cover up the edges of the canvas. We want to kind of make this our first underpainting, which is the first layer. And so you'd also have this on a separate layer. And you can keep your drawing on another layer so that you won't cover it up. And that helps a lot because then you don't mess up quite as much because you can see where things are. And you just try not to cover it up if you're doing this traditionally. And so here I'm using some of the Bob Ross pack brushes, and I think it's called Mystic Mountain. And it actually mimics all the brushes that are in the Bob Ross style, sort of. And so the 2-inch blender is pretty good. It mimics kind of the way he used to dry brush blend with his 2-inch brush. And he would just take a plain brush and with no paint on it and just kind of blend the oils together. Now he was using oils. I use acrylics, so like I said, the dry brush technique is best for the acrylics. But here I'm just using that to kind of blend in the background and the colors, and you can also use his 2-inch landscape brush. And I really like this packet. I think it's one of the best packets that are actually for sale there, and I would definitely recommend this packet anyway for traditional looking paintings. It really works pretty well, and it's got the palette knife in it that he used, and several different ones, and I really like the look that it gives to your painting because it really does give it sort of a traditional look. And then here I was just trying to kind of go back to the acrylic brushes, and I like the real long acrylic brush. Real long bristles, I think it's called. It's one of my favorites because it gives you that feathery dry brush look there. And I'm just trying to add some lighter colors to the hat, and you would probably use yellow ochre and white acrylic gesso if you're following along with your acrylics, and throw in some burnt umber maybe, and just try to get kind of a light pale straw yellow, and then leave sort of some shadows because we're going to put some flowers next to the hat, and so they'll be casting shadows on the hat there. And the picture that I'm using actually comes from pixabay.com, and it's where you can get royalty-free photos, and it had a really nice photo here, but I'm going to use a different set of flowers for my photo, for my painting. So this is the end of part 1 of Apples in a Hat, and in part 2 we're going to be working on the hat some more and refining the apples. So thanks everybody for watching. Thank you so much for your support. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments down below. And if you want to see part 2 of this series, hit that subscribe button. So thanks everybody, and I'll see you later.